Welcome to another episode of The Raw Truth. As always, I'm your host, BX Bad Boy, and today it's Uber versus Lyft. Stay tuned. So today I'm just gonna play with the mask, and not the whole video, but just for fun. If you want to see the unboxing of this and the rest of my unboxing, that video will be out Friday, 1 p.m. So let's get to it. Now, I drove for Uber, and now I drive for Lyft. So I can tell you about both. Let's put this up. Well, so Lyft is an asshole. Trying to get a hold of customer service is almost impossible. I literally haven't gotten a hold of them yet. And all I need them to do is do another background check. It's been 3 years. They refuse to understand English. They keep saying, well, if you disagree with your background check, then you can go into the email that was sent to you and same automated crap. So I went to Lyft. Lyft told me the exact same thing once. Only once. And then when I decided to send them a message, I was like, this is the circumstances. It's been 3 years. Driving record's cleaned up. They're like, I don't even think they answered me after that. They just reset the account as if, coming in for a new background check, new everything. Now, mind you, they didn't get rid of anything because I hadn't worked for Lyft before. But I had applied for them when Uber dismissed me because of my driving record. Which reminds me, the details of that situation or that rule. It doesn't matter if you pay your tickets, don't pay them. That's not their concern. But once you have a ticket and you pay it or not pay it, it goes on your abstract, I think it's called, or abstract, goes on your record. And just like any accidents, whether you're at fault or not, it shows up on your background check or your DMV check. So, and I'm telling you, it does not say guilty or innocent, accident, not accident, your fault, not your fault. None of that, the stuff that you need it to say, does it say. So, Uber had a rule, and apparently so did Lyft, that if you have 2 accidents and 3 tickets, they'll dismiss you when they do that renewal. And I think they do it every year now. So you have to wait 18 months before it comes off your record. It's been 3 years. So Lyft did it. Background check, the whole 9 yards, and they're like, okay, start whenever you want. Now, I was expecting to give me the same song and dance over and over again, just like Uber. Nope. Spoke to a real person, got a real response, and got a real set of actions done. Unlike with Uber, yet to do shit. Just keep telling me the same scenario. Oh, so we forwarded it for emergency to this, that, third, and the other. Get to it, boom, boom. Now they've been complaining, according to the news and TV, and even some websites, and this is word that they're complaining they don't have enough drivers. Okay, so why are you playing pussyfoot with me, who, mind you, drove for Uber for 2.5 years before they dismissed me, and had I think it was over 2,000 calls, and my rating is 4.82 out of 5. And I'm complimented out the ass. Not just little icons, actual sentences and paragraphs. And you're gonna play this game with me? So you're basically treating me like I'm not even human. Lyft, on the other hand, jumped right on it. And so far, I've done, 20, 30 calls for Lyft. And it's almost the same as working for Uber, like the process. The process isn't really different. Their app is slightly different. The same awards apply. The same starring applies. They count your calls. The only real benefit was they literally, like that, gave me the ability to cash out on a daily basis, an hourly basis, whenever it's there. They're going to give me a card, and the money will automatically be deposited there, bypassing the 50 cents per transaction cash out. Uber had something similar. From what I've heard, everybody said nothing but complaints for Uber. When I ran for them 3 years ago, it wasn't all that bad. But I mean, again, that was 3 years ago. A lot can change in 3 years. Like, my driving record cleared up after 3 years. So, I don't know. But, how do you say, explain best? The only difference between Uber and Lyft as a driver might be a slight difference in pay, but nothing you'll really notice. Like the first day I worked, I think was a Thursday. Yeah, I think it was a Thursday. And I made 200 and something dollars. And I worked for 5 hours, 4 hours. I don't know. You tell me. Then what I did last night was $65. Now, there's less work. It's, what's today? Now it's Wednesday. I worked a night shift. So Tuesday was a rather slow day. It's the middle of the week. Now, if you're thinking about driving for Lyft or Uber, I would suggest at this point going Lyft. Originally, my problem with Lyft was something really stupid. Because when I drove for Uber, I could have signed up for Lyft then, but I chose not to under a really stupid reason. Their color is pink. And I don't have anything that goes with pink. Let me just put this down. I think I need to hide. That was stupid. Yeah, because it was pink, and I don't know. It wasn't the fact that I felt girly to have pink on. It's just it didn't work with the car, and that's not one of my colors. My favorite color is basically blue, or black, or gray, or silver, and pink just not one of my favorite colors. I mean, in a color scheme sense, no. In a body part sense, whole nother canary. Um, that was my dumb reason. But other than that, I didn't know much about Lyft. Now, I will tell you this. When I first signed up for Lyft 3 years ago, or a year or 2 years ago, something like that, after Uber dismissed me, or didn't renew my contract, I was going to be given a mentor and all this other monkey punky. And once they did a background check, they realized my driving track record was, tarnished. They just cut off all ties with me. Like the mentor didn't answer me no more. Lyft was like, we can't have you. Oh, what? Okay, whatever. But this time around, no mentor, just go. Which is what I prefer. I don't need a mentor to tell me how to drive. With a passenger, it's relatively simple. You do the speed limit, unless the passenger wants you to go a bit faster. And what I mean by that is, because you know how the rule is, 5 miles over the speed limit, cops leave you alone. But 15 to 20 miles over the speed limit, it was guaranteed to mess with you. 10 miles an hour, you might get away with that depending if you're on a highway, parkway, or side street. So if the customer doesn't care about that 5 miles extra, I'll go for it. I have no problem with it. take turns real slow. Pay attention to the bumps the best you can. Make the ride for the customer as comfortable as possible. Now, I'll be doing another video and more videos, and I might even open up a channel specifically for a day in the life of a Lyft driver. Because I have a camera inside the truck that watches me and the people behind me. I haven't looked at any of the video because it's not meant for what I'm going to use it for. It was meant for security, keeping them and I safe. I can't accuse them of something and they can't accuse me because there's actual evidence that one of us is lying. Saves a lot of trouble. Trust me when I tell you that. And I have a front dash camera watching the road and a back dash camera watching the road. So the vehicle is relatively secure. So I'm going to try to get more videos, and some stuff are just going to be boring rides. I don't really mind sharing those, and even some of the conversation. So far, one, it's the easiest job I've ever had, and I guess maybe because I'm a driver, and two, because my physical inability to walk and stand for more than an hour or two, because I have 2 golf balls on the back of my heel from pulling my Achilles tendon for walking 25 miles straight in 8.5 hours. We'll get into that story. I think it was one of my first stories, but we'll get into that if you want to later. But this is about Uber versus Lyft. Lyft supplied a place card. I mean, I had to print it out, which is not the end of the world. I chose to use construction paper, one that is just regular paper but really thick. Printed it out, laminated it, boom, gotta go. Now, I bought a lift light or LEDs because I want to be seen at night. And I had bought a scroll bar for the back window. It originally said back off, but once Lyft said, come on, I put Lyft there instead. So now there's Lyft in the back that blinks, and there's a steady pink one in the front. The whole car is lit up. So you're going to see lights everywhere. Well, lit everywhere. The light, you'll see, it's a strand that goes around the entire car, and LEDs in the front and LEDs in the front and the back, in front of the customer at their feet. I plan on doing more and more. Like, I want to tint out the car. Right now it's slightly tinted in the back, but the front is very slightly tinted. I want it darker. I'm getting a subwoofer for the back. Nothing big. And probably an 8-inch, maybe 800 watts. Just enough to kick. Let's see. I was thinking about getting the LEDs inside the wheel well. Figuring that'd be pretty cool. I got super bright LED headlights. They're not as bright as I want, or as what I used to have. So I'm still looking, but I needed white lights. The yellow lights suck. It's one thing if you're not a driver doing, road work, in a sense. The yellow's fine. Getting you from point A to point B, no sweat, no mess. But you're doing long time driving, and you got to worry about deer, raccoons, people, cars. Well, not so much cars because they got lights on. Anything falling into the street. You don't want to see it right in front of you, because then it may more likely be too late. You're going to hit it. You want to see it from a distance. So I bought white lights, very bright LEDs. They burned out or the wires got loose, so I was forced to go to standard yellow crap. And I worked with that for a little bit. I was so stressed out because I could only see what's right in front of my truck. So I ordered these LEDs, cost me about $55, and it sees, and it reflects so far away that I can see street signs and police blinkers from at least a football field away, which works for me for both parts. I can see the cop hiding in the bush, and I can see all the signs and all the cars. I've seen it make fog lights on other people's cars that are parked glow. Their reflectors inside their headlights and everything glow. So I can see all the cars, I can see all the animals, I can see all the trees. This trash can fell over and occupied the whole road. But where it fell, in front of the person's house, it's pitch black. Without white lights or without getting up close and personal with the trash can, you wouldn't have seen it. So with my LEDs, I saw it long before I came anywhere near it. So I was able to avoid it without going through it. The passengers are basically the same. I mean, people are people, right? I'm trying to see any significant difference between Uber and Lyft. Besides a real person, nothing. I tried calling Uber's not automated, but their phone for assistance. And because they have on record my old background check, they won't get past it. I mean, I can't get to a representative to discuss, you guys need to do a new one. It has expired. It's like, okay, so there's no winning. No winning. Not like Charlie Sheen winning. I can't tell you at this point without having an Uber and a Lyft side by side about their clientele and their timing. Like this morning or last night to this morning, relatively slow. That might be because it's the middle of the week only, or it could be that Uber has more clientele, or it could be a lot of things. Now, let me be clear about one thing. Where I worked last night and this morning, there was a total of, I think, 6 customers. That's because I refused to work North Jersey. No. And I refuse to work where I live. It's an old saying, you don't shit where you eat. And I'm not doing that. So it depends on where you're going or where you're at. I take a particular spot and I stay there. You almost always catch me there if I'm not out on a call or just taking a joyride because don't want to sit still for too long because then and you put down the mask. No one can see you're sleeping. They think you're skiing. So that's where I go for the most part is by the shore. So there might be less work in the middle of the week because it ain't party time. I would have worked longer. Like right now, I'm doing this video instead of working because I promised you guys a video every Wednesday at noon. I've been working all week and haven't been able to do a video. So I came home early today and said, you know what, let me throw up video real quick. It doesn't really matter what it is in a sense that I need to schedule it. So I figured the newest update would be Uber, Lyft. And the fact I'm back to work, which should allow me to make more videos. My brother moved out, so I'm probably going to turn what his room was into a studio for me and the boy so we can make videos instead of occupying my room. If you would see the behind the scenes on this, you'd be like, oh, that's what you've been doing and how you've been doing it? Wow. I'm just trying to make a video. I'm trying to make it as best as I can. So I went and spent a shitload of money on green screen. So you got some kind of background instead of a messed up, disgusting room to look at. Because me and my son have to occupy the same room for financial reasons. Um, it's real cramped up in here. And having the podcast table, and that's what I call it, because it's a little fold up table that I have another like breakfast thing stand on it, and underneath it is a wireless key, and everything's all here. So it's an inconvenience to say the least. And now that my brother's moved out, I'll take his room and I'll put all this stuff in there and have more room, make better videos. Now you're going to ask or state, why don't I put my son in that room? One, it's literally a step away from the kitchen. It's actually technically part of the kitchen. No. Two, I don't feel safe and comfortable him that far away because it's on the other side of the house. Three, we like being roommates. He likes both of us being in the same room. He wished there was more space in this room. But like I told him in the next house, when we get a house, he's going to get his own room. He's like, but I'm still allowed to come stay at your room, right? I was like, of course. But I am going to get him his own room, not because he wants it, but because he should have one. If he chooses to come hang out with me and do quote unquote sleepovers, he should have the option, not necessarily be forced in a sense to be in one place or the other. So he doesn't want that room. He'd rather it be a studio to help him and I give you guys better videos. Since the room is cramped, like I just did an unboxing and it's really tight. Small ass table. I have to hook all kinds of stuff up, like this second camera. So this second camera you're looking at right now looks down at the table so you can see what I'm opening. It's really cramped, and you have to getting the best videos I can give with what I've got. But with that room being opened, I could put a giant table in it, and I can do all kinds of things with the cameras, like hang them from the ceiling. Better green screen setup. The windows are blacked out by blackout curtains. So, like you see that line behind me right here? That's the sun, because right now it's 8:51 in the morning. So, right behind me is a curtain. These two, one and two, are drop down screens, like, projector screens. So, sunlight doesn't really get through them. But sunlight gets through that curtain back behind me, which is just basically a blanket. In the room, since there's blackout curtains, the sun won't get through it or that green screen behind me. So you get a better view. So that doesn't get interrupted by that. And like I said, a bigger table so I can actually sit back. One, you can see my whole shirt. Two, you can see a giant table. And I have plenty of room, and I can take the camera with this tripod, because this tripod I bought specifically has a little hook up to the ceiling and looking down. All kinds of options are in that room because there's room, because there's nothing else there. But back to Uber and Lyft. Let me know if you think I should start another channel specifically dedicated to Lyft rides, or do you guys want to just have me upload them here? Can give me a list of things you want to discuss, and if it's a decent conversation, I'll bring it up. And you're welcome to comment on it, and other people comment on it. And if you're serious, I'll more than likely have no problem adding you in as a guest and interview, so to speak, and we can debate. If you disagree or agree, doesn't matter. I'll discuss it because I'm up for the discussion, not really want to fight as much as get to the bottom of this, whatever this is. So stay tuned for lift rides and let me know what you think, what you want. Another channel separate dedicated to lift rides, or just upload them here so you can see them and separate them in playlists. Let me know. But on that note, stay safe, get vaccinated, keep your distance, and be safe out there. Because I want to have the conversation with you, and I can't have the conversation with you if something happens. So, on that note, peace.